Hello guys, you ain't gonna get much sense out of me. Oh dear, well, what a day. Anyway, just had a nice meal. It's my second glass of vino, thank you very much. Looking at further comments, I had a couple from people that had done service work. Well, I used to be a TV and radio engineer for quite some time, outside service work. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's I'm going back to the old days, and I worked for a company for many years, as I say, as a outside service engineer. I dealt with sort of brown goods. In them days, TVs and radios were in wooden boxes, cabinets, as opposed to white goods, and white goods are sort of like freezers and fridges and washing machines. And, well, I helped out where I could, but my service side was brown goods, and servicing was totally different in them days. You went out with a box and you had an Avo 8, and you had a box of valves, tubes you call them in the States, and because that was the equipment then, and you had a box of resistors and boxes of various values of capacitors and thermistors and fuses and bits like that, and you went out and you fixed the sets. You went to the customer's house and you fixed it there and then. That was what you did. Totally different to today. I mean, there's no repairs today, health, safety, the whole thing is different. In them days, TV repairman was sort of, well, he was king, man, he was king. I mean, if someone was ill, you'd wave the doctor to one side and let Mr. Jones, the TV repairman, in first, you know. Oh dear, I had some interesting tales, funny things, sad things, frightening things. Oh, there's a whole wealth of things I could tell you about. But I tend to remember the amusing ones mainly, you know. But it wasn't a question of putting in a board or anything like this, or high-tech equipment. It was basically stock faults. And it wasn't that I was clever or other people were clever. It was a fact that certain sets, and you dealt with just a short range of sets, had particular faults, and you knew what they were. You was fixing them before you got the back off, you know. The problems was dealing with people. Well, I get on with people very well, but there's none as funny as folk, is there? And that's where most of the sort of amusement sort of comes in, you know. I always remember, for instance, I'll sort of give you a sort of a flavour of the thing. I went to one person, they complained of something, I don't know what it was. Say it was a sound fault anyway. I went there and there wasn't really much wrong with it, but I noticed that the linearity of the picture was way out, you know. I got a test card up, instead of being round it was like a long oval. This is way out. Anyway, I had spare time on my hands, so I made all the necessary adjustments and got it spot on, you know. I thought, oh, that's good. Got a complaint, didn't I? This woman rang up, she said, this man has spoilt my TV. She said, Richard Dimbleby come on there the other night, she says, and he had a round face. She says, he hasn't got a round face, he's got an oval face. She says, I know, I've met him. So I had to go back and deliberately distort the telly to how she was watching it. Oh dear, I had loads of cases like that. Oh dear, another couple went and they complained of something or other, and they turned the light out, they drew the curtains, they put this set on, and a few minutes later this dim thing come up in the corner. You could hardly make it out, you know. I said, tube's gone. For you in the States, I meant the CRT tube, yeah, not valves. Tube's gone. They said, has it? I said, yeah, about 5 years ago. They've been watching this slowly get worse, and a bit like something fading, until you actually move it, you can't see what's faded, you know, a picture or curtains or something. Well, it was like that. Oh dear, oh dear. But all in all, I was generally successful. There was one customer I went to, this was on an island not too far from me, and I drew up and there was a, say that's the lawn in front of a property, and the bungalow was there, and there was like a little ranch fence at the top, only about 18 inches, 2 foot high, 2 wooden rails, and then lawn, and the path ran all the way around to her front door. Anyway, I had my case in my hand and I nipped over this fence and knocked on the door, and anyway I fixed the set. She was very nice, made me a cup of tea and so forth. She says, young man, she says, I hope you don't mind me saying so, she says, but if you call again, she said, do you mind walking round the path, she said, and not across the lawn? I said, oh, I'm very sorry, madam. I says, quite busy and trying to, you know, save time. I said, but I do apologise, yes, very, very sorry, that won't happen again. Anyway, a few weeks later on, something else happened to a blinking tally, and anyway, I drew up in a van outside, and I see her looking out the window, looking at me, so I knew she could see I'd arrived, but the doorway was a little bit to one side, and I see her move her towards the door, and I thought, I've got time to get across there, so I nipped over the top of this little fence, and caught my foot on the top of the fence, and went arse over tit across the lawn, and my case broke open, all the components and valves spread across the lawn, just as she opened the door, and said, young man, would you mind using the path, please? Ah dear, I certainly can remember some amusing cases. It was on this particular island, I went to another customer, and one of the other engineers says, this woman's an Arabian nutcase, you know. I'm glad I'm not going, it's you. Well, I didn't been there before, so... Anyway, I went down this windy path to this bungalow, knocked on the door, and this woman come to the back door, which was panelled from top to bottom in a sort of semi-frosted glass, and she had absolutely nothing on. She didn't even wear a smile. I was young at the time. She says, I can't open the door, she says, I've got nothing on. I thought, I can see that, I can see that. I'll call back later. Anyway, I think I put a card through the door, we'll call back later. I think someone else got that one. Oh dear, oh dear. I had another customer. There was a... She complained that her set went bang! Frightened the living daylights out of her. And I went along, I took the back off. I couldn't see anything. I'm looking for arcs and sparks and burning and smoke. Nothing, nothing, nothing. And, well, what on earth is this woman on about? Must be a nothing, isn't it? Then I got called out a few times. I couldn't find anything wrong. And then she says, you've got to do something. She says, it's scaring me to death. She says, I come down from breakfast this morning, she says, and the set went bang! She says, and frightened the life out of me. So I said, well, did you leave the set on all night then? Oh no, she says, you don't have to leave the set on. She says, that'll do it without it being on. I said, well, you didn't tell me that. Anyway, it turned out to be, it was a plywood cabinet, and it had a sort of a bow front to it, like that. Knobs there, and the screen was sort of there, and on leaks. And it was GC 318. They were made like that. Anyway, this was a plywood laminate, and it was heat, and the lamination was suddenly doing that and giving way, making this enormous bang. That one got me going for a hell of a while, I can tell you. Anyway, I'm going to have a little sip. Oh, lovely. It's only my second one, honest. TVs and stuff, it was good fun. But all in all, I generally did quite well, and I was, well, not wanting to sound big-headed, but I was quite pleased with what I did. I was pretty well thought of. Don't need that. Well, I'm finished when I finished that. Oh dear. There was another time I went to look at the service sheet and the picture was on the hut. That's an expression we use in this part of the world, meaning it was like that, not square, but on a hut. And sometimes that just simply meant moving the scan coils which are around the neck of the tube. Well, they were big sets in them days. And what you did is you took the back off, and there's sort of multiple pins all on the back of the tube. Heater voltages, 4 or 5 volts, 200 or 300, a few thousand, loads of pins on the back, which, anyway, you kept clear of them. And then round the neck of the tube there was these scan coils which you wanted to clamp, and you could move them, and that physically moved the picture like this. But you was doing it by, and I had your arm up like this, you know, and you're hanging over the back, and you're looking upside down, because you're looking over the top of the set, so you're looking upside down, so left is right and right is left, and I'm trying to straighten this thing up, you know, and I put the back of my hand across the back of the tube, you know, and I remember saying, "All blow," you know, and this woman quickly got her 2 or 3 children off the settee and marched them out the room, and anyway, I'd done the job, and I got a letter of complaint from the head office. Well, apparently I didn't say blow. Must have said something perhaps a bit stronger. But it was quite, you know, quite sort of unconscious. Oh dear. Really, I got millions and millions of these tales. I'm sure you must be bored. Anyway, like a plonker, and I am a plonker, I was very happy in this job for many, many years, and we had a really successful ongoing thing. But as I say, I'm a plonker, and some guy that worked for another rival company said, because he was always headhunted in them days, said, "Knock on your door," and yeah, as I said before, he was king, you know. And he said, "You want to come and work for," and he said his company, and they want to speak to you, blah blah. So he said, "You've got nothing to lose." Anyway, they offered me quite a bit more in salary. So I thought, oh well, I'll give it a try. So I went to this company, but I didn't like it. They dealt with a different range of sets, different makes of sets, which I wasn't familiar with. All those stock faults that I was familiar with were no longer. So I was a bit out of my depth, to be honest. I think I got a wad of cards to go and see in a day, and I thought, good God, you know, you're meant to see all them in a day. If you charge around at 90 miles an hour, you won't get to all them, and you know, and that worried me a bit, you know. In fact, the servicing wasn't, in my opinion, all that good. They didn't have time to do the job properly, and they were a TV hire company. Anyway, digress. Anyway, the first set I went out was a Philips. Well, we didn't used to deal with Philips, so I wasn't familiar with it. Anyway, it's dead set. I thought this would be easy, you know. Anyway, it wouldn't switch on, and went to the volume control, and it didn't go click, and oh, luckily you've got a lot of spares. So anyway, I put my meter on the leads and had continuity up to the switch, but nothing past the switch and volume controls. I thought, oh, well, that's what it is. I've got one of them. So I went into the van, and I come back, and I unsoldered all the switch leads and unsoldered the audio leads off the thing, and I thought, right, well, Ed, what holds a knob on? And I'm looking for a grub screw, and I thought, oh, perhaps it's a push-on knob or something. So I pulled the knob, and it went click. Ah. You know, not me. I mean, you're the engineer. You can't ask the customer how do you switch it on, can you? Oh, I didn't like that. I was there for a few months, but I didn't like that much. It was very cutthroat. They had a contract of doing some, well, this sort of holiday camp site. People were there for only a fortnight, and they had slot TVs, so that tells you everything. People put money in a slot to operate these things. Well, they didn't know whether they'd work when they put the money in. They made money whether the sets worked or not, which is terrible, you know. And you go there, and you'd look on the first card and it would say distorted sound, so you'd go in and distorted wasn't the word, you know. And you thought, hello, the speaker cone's off centre, so you sort of felt that. And there's all bits of fag packets and tissues and things stuck behind it. Only a servant engineer would know what I'm on about. So I pulled all this out and it was oh dear, that's not service work, you know, that's budging. I didn't like that, so I finished with that company. But there you go. Anyway, I've nearly finished my glass here. Hang on. Time for one more little waffle. What can I tell you? Oh, we had some fun. We really did have some fun. We used to build all sorts of things. Model steam engines, all sorts of things, model aircraft. Had loads of time, as I said before, but we did the job, so no one complained. It was a great period in my life, actually, and I learnt an awful lot. It was really hands-on. Anyway, I think this waffle's gone on long enough, and I don't want to lose what few subscribers I've got, so I'll say cheers, guys. Till the next time, eh?